This is a short video about how to replace the transmission torque mounting arm. This is the lower one. It connects the frame to the transmission, the automatic transmission. Yeah, never done this before, so I'm just gonna try to figure it out. One thing I did maybe about a week ago, and then again last night, was put some penetrating oil on those two rear bolts, which are supposed to be 14mm, and yeah, they are. And also I put penetrating oil on the two front nuts, which are 18mm. I may need to use an impact wrench to loosen them, but I was going to try with my long-handled wrench, see if I can get them loose. But maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll try with my, I'm just worried these are going to be on really tight, so I think I'm going to try with my breaker bar and 6-point socket. Well, I said 14mm, but of course, I've got it was a little bit loose with my 14mm wrench, and then this is a 13mm socket. Aha, yeah, it's not a 13mm for sure. It is, I guess it is a 14mm. So here's the 14mm. Yep, that's definitely a nice tight fit with 14mm. So this is just a 6-point 14mm impact socket. Yeah, there's not going to be enough room to use a breaker bar on those, so I think I am going to have to use a wrench. So all I've got is one of these 12-point wrenches, and it's not very tight. Yeah, and make sure that when you're doing this, I just noticed the whole car started to move when I pulled on it. So I think I'm gonna go make sure, I'm gonna go put the chalk, the wheel chalk, on the other side of the car, because I don't want to pull this thing and have it roll the car off of the jack and then crush me. Okay, well, I did chalk the wheels, but I think it's a lot safer to use an impact rather than try to tug. So I'm going to try to use a impact wrench. It doesn't quite fit. It's just not enough space. It should definitely fit on those front bolts, but for these back ones, there's just not enough clearance between these lines and the bolts. So I guess I have to use a wrench. Ouch. Yeah, these are going to be really hard to loosen with just a wrench. Whew. Gonna have to find a different way. Okay, so I decided to do a couple things that are usually not recommended because it can break your tools. But I got a swivel adapter for 3/8 and a 6.3/8 14mm socket, which is not an impact socket, so that's definitely not normally a good thing to do. And then on my electric impact wrench, I've put a 1/2-inch drive to 3/8 inch drive down adapter, downsize adapter, which is also likely to break. But I'm thinking, oops, I'm thinking that if I connect all this up, this Rube Goldberg 1, 2, 3, I should be able, and just make sure your impact is set to loosen. It does look like it will fit, so well, it's impacting it, but of course nothing's turning yet, so let's try a little bit on this bolt. Whoops. Get that on there. Yeah. Doesn't sound good. Doesn't seem to be working. Usually what happens is that the swivel takes up so much of the impact that the actual impact left to get to the socket is too low to really loosen it. So, and I've got a bunch of adapters on here, so, and it's just an electric swivel, so it's not very strong. So it's just not loosening it. Doesn't seem to be working. Probably gonna need to use a breaker bar, because I don't think that this is gonna work. But hey, I guess I'll try one more time. It's really not loosening it. I don't think these have budged at all. I'm sure they haven't budged at all. Well, try again until you succeed. It's always the last thing you try that works, so gotta think about what to try next. So I'm gonna loosen the front nuts and I'm going to use my 18 millimeter impact socket with my 1/2-inch drive impact wrench, and there's, just because I've just jacked up the car and I'm working on the ground, there's barely any room. Make sure you got it set, the wrench set to reverse, and then oh yeah, oh, that works great. And there is a washer. You make sure you retrieve that washer underneath the nut. I didn't see that washer in the online parts diagram. But you'll want to put that back on. And yeah, oh, those just zip right out. That's easy. That works great, because there's that washer again. Because I don't have so many extensions and wobble adapters and all that other nonsense. Yeah, that thing is ready to come out on this side. I just need to still need to deal with how to get those two 14 millimeter ones loose, and that's my next challenge. But these guys, those are loose and ready to come out, so that's great.